So last time I made a video on the top 5 best Elden Ring bosses. I'll leave that video in the description if you guys want to check that out. Well, today I'll be talking about the top 5 worst Elden Ring bosses. So let's get into it. Coming in at number 5, we have Sir Gideon Ofnir, the All-Knowing. Now, the reason this boss is in 5th place is because, well, he's either going to be really easy or just super annoying. I say he's going to be easy because you can actually kill him during his monologue because he actually has that little health. His health is more similar to an NPC invader than an actual boss. And also, it just feels like, I don't know if this is just because I play a lot of Terraria, but it just feels like a ripoff of the Lunatic Cultist. You know, another mage that is all-knowing and that is your exact size. But the only difference is that that boss is actually hard and it's actually an enjoyable, fun boss fight. This dude is just easy, hardcore spams the same 5 spells, and honestly it just feels like you're playing online trying to fight a mage. Because for any mage that just hardcore spams spells online, this is what it feels like to fight you. And, you know, considering that he's all-knowing, he only brung 1 healing flask in the battle, which if you ask me, a pretty dumb move, especially from someone that claims to be all-knowing. But in general, this boss is just very annoying, and it just feels like an unnecessary speed bump that you need to do to complete the game. Coming in at number 4, we have the entry avatars. Now, if you don't know how to find these guys, you can basically find these guys at any minor entry in the game. Now, of course, depending on which one you go to does depend on how hard this boss is going to be, but they all have the same 3 attacks. The first one is where it just hits you with its staff, and it can get very annoying because, well, you can't really, dodge it because it's a very long-range attack, and if you get too close to them, they can still hit you with it. So you kind of have a hard time dodging it. And the second move is where it pounces the floor like an angry 5-year-old losing in Fortnite. You know, I don't really have a problem with this attack. It's pretty easy to dodge, but it does do a ton of damage. The third move is where it summons these little yellow beams to attack you, and it can stagger you and hold you in place, so it can use other moves while this move is in play, and get a ton of damage, and sometimes even killing you if you don't have enough vigor. Now, is it really worth fighting these guys? Because, well, they're 1000% optional. You know, I went through my first playthrough not even knowing these guys existed. Well, if you're running like a mage build, then yes, because they do give you stuff that you can add to your flask and give it more abilities. But if you're running a melee build, best to stay away from these guys. Coming in at number 3, we have the Fire Giant. Now, the reason I put this boss in 3rd place is because it's just a very annoying boss. Some people find it hard, some people find it easy, but very few people actually enjoy this boss fight, including myself, because he has a ton of health, and because, well, I feel like they just made him too big, you know? Because all of his attacks are extremely slow, and the time from when he starts them to when he finishes them is just extremely big, and then you can dodge his attacks very easily. But if you can't dodge him and you don't have a lot of vigor, you can die. Just get one tapped by him. But it's just a very tedious process, especially since not only does he have a lot of health, but after every 3 to 4 hits, he'll just roll away. And then when you get to a second stage, he actually becomes very difficult, in my opinion, because he starts spewing fire everywhere, and one bad barrel roll into that fire, you're dead, alright? So it's just a very annoying process, and it sucks too, because you have to beat this boss to beat the game. Coming in at number 2, we have the Misbegotten Warrior Crucible Knight duo. Now, the reason I didn't put this boss in number 1 is because it's optional. That's literally it, because the Misbegotten Warrior, pretty easy if you ask me. It's pretty easy to knock it out of its stance, so you can just hardcore spam your quick attack, and then you'll kill it. But the Crucible Knight, on the other hand, he's a different story, alright? You cannot stagger him. I don't know why. He's probably just simply too thick, but you can't stagger him. So then you go from hardcore spamming to being patient and keeping your distance. And honestly, it took me 20 attempts to learn that. Now, that could be just because I'm an idiot, but still. You know, you can imagine those attempts being very annoying. And if you get a bad DPS or something and can't kill the Misbegotten Warrior before the Crucible Knight spawns in, you're dead. Because then you have 2 very fast, very angry, bloodbursted enemies at you, and then they'll kill you before you can even say Elden Ring, alright? It's honestly just a load of BS, alright? And it just feels like an unnecessary bump in the road to fight Starscourge Radahn. The worst Elden Ring boss, I'm sure a ton of you guys will agree with me on this, is the Godskin duo. And I say this simply just because they're unbalanced. Because you'd think that with, well, video game logic and, well, common sense, that the fat one would attack slow but do a ton of damage per hit, while the skinny one would attack fast but not do as much damage per hit. Well, in multiple cases, the fat one can actually attack faster, and, it creates this, well, imbalance between the two bosses. And the fact that you have to fight this boss right before you fight one of the best bosses in the game, which is Malekith, feels like a spit in the face to Malekith, because you have to get through this thing, or these guys, I guess I should say, before you can even get the Malekith. And the fact that they have to share one health bar instead of two separate health bars makes them even more annoying, because then they could resurrect each other, and then you can go through their second stages multiple times. So, basically, let me put it like this. You know that feeling you get when you barely beat the boss's first phase, and then you have to go through its second phase? Yeah, you go through that a ton in this boss fight, because they just keep resurrecting each other until that health bar gets to 0. And you can imagine how annoying that gets. Honestly, nobody, not a single soul I know, enjoys this boss. And I get it that it's a Dark Souls game, but there's a certain limit to where a boss just becomes flat out unenjoyable because of how hard it is. That's all I have for you guys today, so I really hope you enjoyed this video. See you guys next time.